traditional iron condor usually has the same deltas and the same width of the spread on both sides. And when you're doing an iron condor, you want it to stay in between the short leg on the put side, which is that 750 there, and the short leg on the call side, which is the 759. It's inherently neutral. But your risk on the call side is $100 and you collected $350. See this up here, remember? So it's no way you can lose on the call side because you. So the first pillar when you're learning the basis of options is what is the call and the put and what's happening when you buy and sell calls and puts and what's going on with rights and obligations. Okay, we're going to talk about that pillar today. The second pillar is understanding the options chain, and the options chain is super important because that's where you actually execute the buying and selling and calls and puts and understand where you're at regarding in the money, out of the money, at the money, and your probabilities of success. And then the third pillar is understanding basic option strategies, because if you understand the basic option strategy, you'll be able to understand all the different exotic strategies that are created because, as you guys hear me say often, they're just deviations from the basic strategies. Today, I'm going to talk briefly about the no upside risk iron condor. And the no upside risk iron condor is a basic strategy, and it consists of two different basic strategies, right? It's a basic strategy that is created from basic strategies. And so we'll break that down and that'll make a little bit more sense here in a second. What I want you to understand first is what's happening when you buy and sell a call and a put. Here at Dorian Trader, we say you should memorize this image that you see on your screen right now. I hate memorization type of work, but until you get this down, until you get it in your long-term memory, you should memorize this. You should memorize that if you are buying a call, then it's bullish. That you're paying monies for that call and you want it to go up. When you buy a put, you want to understand that you're paying monies for the ability to make money if it goes down, because buying of a put is bearish. So it's two type of buys. You can either buy a call, which is bullish, or you can buy a put, which is bearish. And that's a little confusing, you guys, because when you buy something, you normally want it to go up. But when you're buying a put, you actually want it to go down. That's how you benefit. But this is one of the best ways to be bearish, is because your risk is so defined when you're buying a put. It's so defined. The market has a tendency to drift up. It has a tendency to go up most of the time. And as you guys know, it's been up for the last 9 weeks. And so if you were selling, which we're going to talk about selling here in a second, if you were selling a call, which is bearish, as you can see here on this screen, well, that would have potentially been a lot of problems to the upside over the last 9 weeks. Most likely it would have been if you had a naked call on, especially a naked call. And if you had a call spread on, it would still been a challenge for the most part over the last 9 weeks. If you were bearish using a put spread, it could have been all defined. You understand how much you're going to lose and you risk an amount that you're okay with losing. So understanding what's happening when you're buying a call and what's happening when you're buying a put. And then strategically, how those benefit you. And then I just talked about the selling of a call is bearish. You sell a call, you receive monies into your account. The reason why some people would do a call when they're bearish instead of a put is because if you buy a put, you have to be right directionally to be able to win. If you sell a call, you don't have to be right directionally, you can still win. But it can obviously be a lot more risk. You technically have unlimited risk to the upside when you sell a call by itself. And that could have been really painful over the last, basically 1,300 points of the S&P 500. If you put this on 9 weeks ago, let's say three months ago, then it's no way you wouldn't have had issues on that call side because you couldn't have been that far away. 1,300 points away, maybe you could have been, 900, 1,000 points away or something like that, but not 1,300 points away. So you want to understand the differences. When you sell a put, you are bullish. Monies are coming into your account, you're receiving monies, and you want it to go up. This is one of the most conservative ways to sell options, is to sell what is called a cash secured put. That is being bullish. So you can be bullish or bearish using only a call. You're bullish if you're buying a call, and you are bearish if you're selling a call. You can be bullish or bearish using only a put. You're bearish if you're buying a put, and you're bullish if you're selling the put. So you want to memorize these things. You want to memorize not only what's happening when you're buying the call and the put and selling the call and the put, but you want to memorize your rights and obligations. So if you are a buyer, you have a right. You can just simply initially memorize that buyers have rights and sellers have obligations. So then you just have to understand what is that right and what is that obligation. Once again, you should memorize this. If you are the buyer of a call, you have a right to purchase. If you're the buyer of the put, you have the right to sell. If you are the seller of the call, you have the obligation to sell, obligation to sell shares. And if you are the seller of the put, you have the obligation to purchase the shares. Right? So if you have an obligation, it's either to sell or purchase. If you have a right, it's either a right to purchase or sell. Once you memorize this and get it in your long-term memory, it's going to be really, really easy for you to continue to build on your foundation of options. Now, if we jump over here, so I want to start explaining this no upside risk iron condor by explaining a basic iron condor first, a traditional iron condor. And most of you on this call understand that. But for you to really understand the differences, I need to show you the traditional iron condor first. So I'm going to show it by just picking some weird strikes here. So don't think this is the type of iron condor we would put on. We would, for the most part, never put on an iron condor that looks like this. It might look like this after we've had to adjust and all of that kind of stuff, but not initially. All right, so when you're doing an iron condor, you have a put spread that you sell, and you have a call spread that you sell. And a traditional iron condor, usually you're selling it at the same deltas. In this case, obviously it's not, but we're selling at the same deltas. And the width of the spread are the same on both sides. So this is 4 points, and this is 4 points. A traditional iron condor usually has the same deltas and the same width of the spread on both sides. And when you're doing an iron condor, you want it to stay in between the short leg on the put side, which is that 750 there, and the short leg on the call side, which is the 759. It's inherently neutral. All iron condors, even the no upside risk iron condor, is inherently neutral. You really want it to stay inside of this range here, in between the 750, which is the short leg on the put side, and the 759, which is the short leg on the call side. That's what you want it to do. Even with a no upside risk iron condor, you want it to stay in between your two short strikes, because that's where you're going to make the most money at. On a traditional one that I'm showing you right here, you always want it to stay in between the short strikes, because that's the only way you can win. Right? If it goes down too much, you can lose. If it goes up too much, you can lose. And so on an option chain, going up is going down on your option chain. So that's why I put the loss side here, saying when it's going up, and going down on an option chain is going up on your screen. That's why I put the loss here. So this is a type of traditional iron condor. When you're doing a no upside risk iron condor, then it's structured differently. I'm going to show it like this for now. Let's just say I put the iron condor here and I did something like this. Let's just make that 10 points. So in this example here, what I'm doing with this no upside risk iron condor, I created a call side that is 1 point wide. Then I created a put side that is 10 points wide. On the call side, because it's only 1 point wide, the call side spread, this call spread is worth $100. That's the value of this spread is $100, because each point equals $100. This is 1 point wide. On the put side, it's going to equal $1,000. The value of this spread is worth $1,000 on the put side, because it's 10 points times 100 is 1,000. It's $100 per point. It's 10 points. So 10 times 100 is 1,000. Now, the most you can lose on the call side is $100. The most you can lose on the put side is $1,000. So let's say you collect $350 on this trade. You collect $350 when you sell this no upside risk iron condor. That's how much you're receiving. So on the put side, your risk is $1,000. So you still have $650 of risk on the put side. But your risk on the call side is $100, and you collected $350. See this up here, remember? So it's no way you can lose on the call side because you collected more than what you can lose on the call side. And that is the dynamics. That's the structure of a no upside risk iron condor. You have to collect more than what you can lose on the call side. That's what makes it no risk to the upside. We do not say it's no risk at all to the trade or no risk to the put side. It's going to be risk in one of the directions. We've already identified what that is. If we say no risk to the upside, then that means the risk must be to the downside. But we've talked about earlier that the market goes up most days, most weeks, most months, most quarters, most years. So you already have an edge because this is a bullish strategy. But if the market has been up a lot and you're feeling a little neutral but scared that the market could continue to go up and pressure you, cause you to lose money on the call side, then a good strategy to combat that is a no upside risk iron condor. Because if it stays inherently neutral or stays neutral, then you can make this entire 350 in this example. Okay, if it stays in between the short strikes, you can make the 350. But in this example, if it jumps all the way up and goes past your call spread, you can still make 250. You cannot lose to the upside. You're not going to win the 350, but you still win. And it's a way to get some bearish component to get some bearish deltas, or at least to think a little bit less bullish using this kind of skewed or slanted iron condor. The way we normally set this up is using 1 point wide to 5 point wide call spreads. So, but whatever you use, either 1 or 5, you have to make sure you collect more than what you can lose on the call side. And so if the spread is 1 point wide, you know you have to collect more than 100. If it's 5 points wide on the call side, then you know you have to collect more than 500 to have no risk to the upside. So if I jump here and I look at this curve view here really quickly, you have the at the money here where this flag is at. You can see if it goes up, you're going to make money regardless, 100% of the time if it goes up. But this is the at the money. If it goes down, you still can make money. And then you start losing once it supersedes the premium received, and then you max out your loss. You stop losing once it hits this put here. But this is an iron condor. You really want it to stay like this in between your short strikes because this is the best win zone here. But if I go back over here to this table here and I just say I made it 5 points wide on the call side, and then I jump back over here, and because I made it 5 points wide and I'm receiving more premium, it's still going to be no upside risk, because in this example here, I am receiving 570. The most I can lose if it jumps up is 500. I'm collecting 570. So even if it jumps up, I'm still going to make at least $70. But for some reason, if I act like I was going to receive, let's just say only 500. Now look at this. If I only receive 500, this is the at the money. Now you can see I'm not going to lose to the upside, but I can't win. It's a break even. If I get something less than 500, let's just say 498, now you're going to see that we're going to lose. This is red here if it goes up. The less I get than 500, the more it's going to turn red there, as you can see. This is 450. I needed 500. So now this is just a regular type of iron condor. I have risk to the downside. I have risk to the upside. I can only win here. So you have to collect at least $500 to break even. You have to collect at more than $500 to be able to have no upside risk. Depending, it all based on the call side, how much you can lose on the call side. You need to make sure you collect more than how much you can lose on the call side, and that's how you can win.